Hello and welcome to another edition of the Police Call Box, coming to you from the Fraternal Order Police Lodge 171 here in Flagler County. I have in the studio with me one of the original members of the lodge. In fact, we were called the Dirty Dozen when we started right in 2012.
Wow.
So we're going on 14 years old. I'd like to introduce one of the real old members, Ray Stevens. And Ray, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. How about you, Ron?
I'm doing just fine.
Good. Glad to hear that.
So anyway, let me ask you some questions. Where you come from?
Originally, I was born in Manhattan. I spent my youth in the Bronx, North Bronx. From there, I moved to Yonkers. And from Yonkers, I moved to Ossining, New York.
Also known as Sing Sing, right?
Yeah, right there. Sing Sing is located in Ossining. It's about 17 miles maybe north of the Bronx. And from there, Palm Coast.
What made you get into law enforcement?
Well,
Needed a job?
As I was growing up, there's two things I wanted to be. Either I wanted to be a cowboy or a cop. There ain't too many cowboys in the Bronx. So I decided to go the police route, and I took the test for Westchester County, and I passed. It was during the
What year was that? What year was that?
1969.
Yeah.
Or thereabouts. It was during the latter part of the Vietnam War.
Uh-huh. Yes.
And I was offered a position with the Ossining, New York Police. I took it. And from there, part of my career, I was assigned to the Joint Federal Narcotics Task Force in Manhattan, DEA, where we worked major narcotics cases in and around the city of New York, primarily. And subsequent to that, as I said, I moved to Palm Coast, and the rest is history, so to speak.
Well, we both know that you ran for sheriff a couple of times. In fact, we tried hard to get you sheriff.
Yeah. I ran the first time as an independent, and that I was advised to do so. But that independent's very tough in this county for an independent, or most anywhere, to win without having a major party affiliation. The second time I ran as a Republican, which I am a Republican. And there was some chicanery in that.
Yeah, I remember it well.
During that election. Basically, let's put it this way, a judge that lost sight of what the law mandates and decided to go with whoever gave him the highest campaign donation.
Oh.
So subsequent to that, I ran for city council here. I won by a considerable margin. I'm going to blow my own horn here.
That's what you're here for. That's what we're doing.
I won every precinct in the city, all aspects of the vote, absentee, early voting, day of election, overseas, military. And unfortunately, I was only able to serve 2.5 months, perhaps 3 months on the city council, up until maybe 11 months ago. Upon returning from New York City at Christmas time, I took my wife and daughter. We went to Rockefeller Center to see the tree. And shortly thereafter, I came down with, which we found out later on in the hospital. I spent 2 months in the hospital, had lung surgery. I came down with fungal pneumonia. Very rare, and it was a very arduous experience. And especially when I was assigned, placed in ICU. It's a little unnerving when the head doctor comes in and suggests I get my personal affairs in order. And do I want to sign a DNR? I didn't. I didn't get worse. I got better. And my wife was there every day. She's a nurse. She was my Florence Nightingale, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when I got out, I started exercising, and I ride a bicycle. I rode my motorcycle not too long ago, and I decided I want to run again. The reason I digress. The reason I had to step down was because I didn't think I was coming out of the hospital, and I thought it was the ethical thing and the right thing to do, because I was collecting a paycheck. I'm laying on my back, and such as it is, the pay it's not a big money job.
Yeah.
But and plus it kind of hamstrung the city council in that they didn't have a tie-breaking vote. So a lot of the important issues usually come down to a 2-2 vote, and without a tiebreaker, it goes nowhere. Mm-hmm. So I decided to use a baseball analogy. I decided that it's easy to complain when you're sitting on the bench, but if you want to make change, you got to get in the game. Get off the bench and get in the game.
That sounds good.
So I decided that I'm going to get back in the game. I have been well recepted wherever I go to speak, and I'm running as a Republican. Although it's a nonpartisan election in the city of Palm Coast, anybody who lives in the city and is registered to vote can vote for the city candidates. The other elections are, at least the primary is, partisan. You have to be a member of that party to vote. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty much.
I know you're not involved in real estate. You're not a lawyer, no. Because our city council has been loaded with them over the years. Mm-hmm. And what did we get out of it?
We got
a lot of overgrowth. Too much.
Absolutely. That's one of my, I tell people when I go to speak, it's 10 months ago, 11 months ago, I was on the council. I'm the same person, same ideology, same philosophy, and the same message. And that is that we need to put the brakes on, or pull the reins in on what I refer to as this over development and or poorly planned development that is putting a unsustainable burden on our infrastructure. And I mean across the board: water, sewer, roadways, air quality, loss of green space, flooding, because this development is out of hand, and we need to give the infrastructure a chance to catch up, if you will, and that includes the roadways. I mean, case in point would be Route 100 between, shall we say, the 95 overpass and Belterre. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it'll take you 10 minutes to go a mile. Yep. The lights are poorly timed. Whoever did that needs to be retrained.
Re-instructed, yeah.
Excuse me. And it's just too much, too fast. And it is basically, and I'll level with you, it's because of greed. These developers, they don't care. They move in here. They build large developments, and then they leave, go someplace else, which I'm opposed to. And part of the problem is upzoning and rezoning. There's too much of that going on. I mean, if you buy a piece of property, if it's 5 acres and it's owned single family, low density, you bought it. You knew that when you went in. Mm-hmm. But what's common here is these developers will go into buy a piece of property, 5 acres, as I mentioned, and then they'll apply, they make some connections, apply to the city council or the zoning board for an upzone from single family to multifamily high density, which would triple their profit, because the more people you can fit on a piece of property, the more money you make. So I'm staunchly opposed to that. I'm also opposed to, raising taxes should be the last resort, not the first option. There are other methods to reduce taxes. It could be through the process of attrition, consolidation of services, a number of other methods could be used and should be tried and explored before we say, oh, arbitrarily we'll raise taxes. So another example of that is, because reverting back to the overdevelopment, is a wastewater treatment plant one.
Yep.
It is virtually at capacity, mandated by the state to either rebuild it or add on to it, but nevertheless, the bottom line is going to be somewhere in the vicinity of $243 million. And
where's that going to come from? Where's that going to come from?
It's going to come. Well, most of it's going to come from the taxpayers. There are some grants, and there are some federal or state money that will assist. But a bulk of it's got to come from the taxpayers. They're probably going to float a bond. I'm not on the council, so I'm a little bit out of the loop. But I think that the intention is to float a bond to pay for this. But they want to. It's a long story. They want to float a bond for like $500 million, but
you got to pay it back.
That's
right?
based on, they're basing it on future growth, on future contingencies. When that's gambling with the taxpayers' money. If we need $243 million, or if we need $300 million, that's what you get the bonds for. If it proves out that we need more money for more expansion, then we'll float another bond. That's how I look at it. And that's, if I get on the council, or when I get on the council, that's how I'm going to vote accordingly.
Well, I think, this man speaks from his heart. I know him a long time, and I've never heard him to say anything that he didn't mean. I mean, I always go back to the old saying that I talk about. I first discovered Palm Coast in 1990. I jokingly say there were 2 traffic signals, one on Old Kings, the other one on I-95, and now there's one on every block, or there's 2 on every block. I joke about it, but I believe last time I saw, we're pushing over 150,000 people in the city.
Well,
in that ballpark,
about 117, maybe 120, including the whole county.
I remember years ago when I first looked into moving to Palm Coast, they said it's built to handle 250,000 people. But they didn't say anything about the infrastructure, schools, police, fire. They just came out with this: buy property in Palm Coast and you'll be happy for the rest of your life. But we have to get people on a council that want to reflect what the quality of life has to be, besides picking your pocket every year. So I think Ray can do the job, and I think everybody who's listening to this podcast, especially if you're in law enforcement, which this is aimed towards, vote for Ray. I think you won't be sorry. Like I said, he's a decent guy, and that's hard to put with the same frame as a politician. That's an oxymoron, is that what they call it?
Right.
Ray, good luck.
Well, thank you, Ron.
Yep.
Thank you for having me here today to at least give your viewers in a nutshell where I stand on the issues.
That's it. That's all we got to know.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening, folks, and we'll be coming on with a lot of other people of interest in the near future. So again, we're in. Oh, by the way, some people have said to me, "You always say Flagler County. Where is Flagler County?" Well, if you're coming into Florida on I-95, you come into Florida. The first big city you see is Jacksonville. You go about 85, 90 miles south, bingo, you're in Flagler County. There are 3 cities in Flagler County. There's Bunnell, which is the city, that's the seat, the county seat. There's Flagler Beach, where we're speaking to you right now, is where we have our FOP headquarters. And then there's the big Palm Coast. That's what Ray is representing, just Palm Coast. So take a little time, do some research, and you'll see who's running and what they stand for. This man will do the job for us. So until the next podcast, 10-4, everybody.